anyone from New York in the audience? You might be able to tell, you know, from the accent, but I'm actually not from around here. I'm actually not even from Brooklyn or Queens either. I'm from the UK. But I'm a huge fan of New York City. I love New York, and I'll tell you the reason why. It's very, very simple. When I was growing up in like rural England, the only way that I saw New York was through comic books, through Marvel comic books specifically. From the very, very beginning of Marvel, New York has been an incredibly important part of their universe. And the fact that the adventures of their heroes were set in a real city was something that really meant a lot to me. But of course, it's not just me that loves New York. Everybody in our studio loves you guys. But like I said, you know, we're not from around here. We're actually from San Francisco, all the way over in California. What? Wow. That's cool. Is this a sports thing? It's a sports thing, right? Okay, whatever. My point being, as we come all the way from California, and our only reference point is Marvel, when we had to make Hell's Kitchen in the game, unfortunately it came out something like that. I blame Daredevil. Sorry, I mean, that's the vision of Marvel that we have. So, welcome to the Marvel Heroes panel here at New York Comic Con 2012. Thank you very, very much for coming. This, as we say, is the Marvel MMO we know you've been waiting for. We know you've been waiting a long time, and we're really sorry we're late. We wanted to show you an early prototype of the game. We have been working on it quite a long time, but, you know, we were doing good things. We were upgrading. So, you know, we're better now than we were back then. Shout out for Quest Pro. So who are we? We are Gazillion Entertainment. Like I said, we're from San Francisco in California. And we have some experience with the Marvel license. We made a game you may have heard of. It's called Marvel Superhero Squad Online. It's great. It's live right now. You can play it at HeroUp.com. It plays in any web browser, Mac, PC, Linux, whatever you want to do. And it's great, especially for kids. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about other stuff. So let me quickly introduce everybody who's here on this panel. My name is Stephen Reed. I'm Director of Community and Customer Service at Gazillion. To my left is David Brevik. David is best known, probably in the gaming industry, as being the man who created Diablo and Diablo 2.
Thank you, I love you too.
And we didn't see everybody in order here, but at the my far left, your right, is Matt Group, who's one of our associate producers. So his right, this is going to get confusing, with the hat, oh wait, no, there's two hats. Josh Book, who is our art director on the game. And last but not least, of course, that there would be TQ Jefferson, who's putting away his game of Smurf Village to pay attention to the panel. TQ would be Vice President of Games at Marvel. All right. So let's get going. Here's the big question everyone wants to know about. What the hell is Marvel Heroes?
It's great. Awesome.
It's great. Yeah, I like that answer. That's good. Okay, well, we're going to try and answer this. And, you know, to try and answer this, the first thing I did was I went and I grabbed one of our marketing presentations. You know, they give these internal presentations. And, you know, it being a marketing presentation, it tended to be, you know, kind of douchey. So according to marketing, it's a AAA massive online action RPG where you play as your favorite Marvel heroes and you get it all for free, and apparently it involves thinking wistfully about the title. So I made a few notes, like, I don't understand what AAA means. Is that about fixing my car? There's so many buzzwords in there, I can't really understand that. Apparently we're not going to allow you to make knockoff heroes, which seems really strange. And the free part I really don't get. Like, I mean, how are we going to make any money? I have cats. Also, what the hell is with that guy on the right? I don't... All right, so we're going to break it down for you, and we're going to start from the top. So it's a AAA massive online action RPG, a lovely, lovely acronym. But let's start with AAA. AAA is a term that's thrown around a lot in the gaming industry, and the dirty secret is it doesn't really mean anything. It means whatever you want it to mean at any given point in time. But I like to say that, you know, we really only have one A in our game, and our A stands for one thing, which is, of course, action! Triple action, that's what we have. Punisher approved, and here's a little sample. really wanted to make the game incredibly fast-paced. We wanted it to be easy to pick up and play, and obviously, most of all, we wanted it to be fun, and that's why we chose the action RPG as a genre. But obviously, the action part of it is only one part of that massive, crazy acronym there. And one I know that anyone who's an MMO fan is going to want to know about is this word. So how are we massive exactly? Well, we have massive randomized zones, which is incredibly exciting to us. Most of Marvel Heroes, most of the game is in these open, large zones, which are randomized. And it's actually a first for MMOs. It's not a first for action RPGs. In fact, David pretty much pioneered it with Diablo. But it's very, very exciting to us because as you go in, you can replay these areas again and again. You know how when you've played an MMO like once or twice and basically you can memorize the map and you know exactly where you're going at any given time? Well, not the case in Marvel Heroes. You'll be going through and you'll be exploring every time, finding new stuff, finding new mobs, finding new positions for bosses, all kinds of stuff. So it's very, very cool. And of course, at the same time, because these are huge open zones, we call them public combat zones, you can interact and team up with dozens of other players at a time. Yep, we have massive iconic threats as well. You can battle against the greatest threats in the Marvel Universe. You get to work with other players in these huge open missions. You get to band together. You can see some Sentinels in the background here. You can team up to take them down. And then you can gather medals to record your triumphs and to show off to other people. So, we got the massive in the online action RPG, but the question really is, where's the RPG? So, depending on your age, you might have a different definition of what an RPG is. Shout out to the original Redbox Massive, all right? But regardless of whether you come to role-playing games from the old D&D days or now you're playing games like Skyrim, they're all very, very similar in their core principles. So what you do is you create a character, you customize that character as you progress, and then of course you experience a great story while you're doing it. Now, you may have heard this already, but in our game, you don't actually play as your own character. In fact, you play as one of the Marvel heroes. And there's actually a really long history of this. Again, showing my age, when I was a young lad, I used to play the Marvel Superheroes role-playing game from TSR back in the early 80s. Yeah, there's a few of us still alive. And that's even continuing today with the Margaret Weiss Marvel Heroic basic game. But what we really don't want to do in the game, quite simply, is let you create this guy. All right, nobody wants to be the guy with forks and knives taped to his hands. So one important thing for us was that we had no knockoffs in the game. You don't want to play Fork and Knife Man, you want to play Wolverine, right?
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
And considering we don't just have Wolverine, we have a whole bunch of other heroes, 23 announced so far, well 25 now, strictly speaking.
Yeah, buddy.
I don't know why you wouldn't want to be one of these guys instead of being, Fork and Knife Man. But I know what you're going to ask me, which is what if there's a whole ton of Wolverines, running around on screen at the same time? And there's two answers to this. The first answer is, who the hell cares? Get together and form a guild, call yourself the Bubs, and have a good time. I'll tell you this, come to the booth if you haven't played the game already. I guarantee you, I've seen people playing all weekend, and as soon as they see multiple Iron Men on screen or whatever else, they're like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. Especially when you see tons of Hulks going at it at the same time. But at the same time, we're allowing you to customize your character by using alternate costumes. Oh, is that a brown costume? Yeah, I think it might have. We have literally hundreds of different costumes in the game. And the man who's responsible for doing all of that and pushing all those costumes through the pipeline is Josh Book over here, who's our artist. And Josh is going to tell us a little bit about the costume creation process.
Cool. So, yeah, it's been a great project to work on so far, being a long-time comic book fan. And one of the interesting things when we take on a new character is that we go, okay, well, so we're going to work on Hulk. What does Hulk look like, right? And what we realized, as we did a lot of research, is Hulk has actually had a lot of different looks over the years, and everybody in their mind has kind of a different idea of what Hulk is, what he should look like. How purple should his pants be, right? I don't know. You could go from the kind of magenta to the darker to the blue, whatever.
So 50 variants of purple pants is what you're saying?
We'll have hundreds of variants of purple pants. It'll just be the whole range. No, we were actually looking for more distinct versions of the different characters. So we take a look at all the different sources. We go through. Here is this is the Marvel Avengers film movie costume version. Planet Hulk, World War Hulk, you might recognize that. Yeah. That's a cool one. And then I don't know, I think some of these we have not seen before.
I think some of these might be new.
This what? Oh, wait, what? So that one's probably going to be pretty popular.
One more?
What was that?
One more?
Oh, yeah. Grey Hulk.
Gray skin,
exactly.
and then the one that really is out of, I don't know where this comes from.
What?
You're going to have to explain this one to me.
Oh. The Maestro? That is the Maestro Hulk, if people aren't familiar. So.
Future imperfect.
Yes.
Yep.
So.
You want to go into a bit more detail on the Maestro one? I think we have some slides.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Maestro a little bit. So our process is we build we have a team of character artists, which are they do modeling and they do the sculpting. So what we do is they start sculpting in a program called ZBrush, and they build all this intricate detail in the characters and all these different pieces. Then we move through that, and we start with the different source art. We look at the source art. We work with TQ and the team at Marvel to really come up with the really iconic look for these different characters and their costumes. And we pay a lot of attention to detail on them. So then we work from here with Miss Marvel. This is the classic Miss Marvel. We go from ZBrush to Maya, and then that's the character as you see it in game. So these are the model sheets we've been releasing online.
And you've probably seen this one if you've been paying attention. Storm is actually playable for the first time here at New York Comic Con, and this is the costume we already revealed for her. But we have a couple of other looks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, do we have them here?
Anyone remember this one? I think you're going to remember this one there. Best costume ever.
Yeah. If you when you play the demo on the floor, that is a drop. That is possible. I've seen people running around as Mohawk Storm. It's pretty awesome.
But I wanted to shout out one thing. I'm very excited about this myself. When I was reading those Marvel comics when I was growing up, my favorite character, and still my favorite character, was of course Spider-Man. And we obviously have a modern costume for him in the game. But we decided that we wanted to go something with a little bit more old school, and so we came up with this. And I also want to shout out to Mr. Dan Slott, who's here. Thank you very much for coming, Dan. And I want to say one thing. Anyone who's been pestering Dan over Twitter, Superior Spider-Man is not what you think it is. But I can't say anything else. Suffice to say, it's good. All right. Thank you very much, Josh. And now we're going to hand it over to David. Because the next big thing in an RPG is, of course, how do you customize your hero? So, we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so one of the principles of the game, and really one of the things that we're trying to achieve, is that my version of whatever character is different than your version. I think we're going to look at some of the costumes here. Is that what we're going to look at?
We'll look at a couple of similar heroes. So you'd expect that these guys are going to be tanks, right?
And so you would think that both these characters play very, very similarly, but they don't. And we're doing a lot of things that kind of not only speak to their character, but also kind of speak to the differences. And so each one of these you can consider to be kind of its own unique character class. So what would be different between the Hulk and Thing? Well, Hulk, his powers are much more like offense-based, and he does a lot of things at high DPS, does a whole bunch of stuff. They can both do things like throw cars and leap around, but Hulk, really rips up the street and things like that. Whereas Hulk, the Thing is much more of a group kind of character. It speaks more to the kind of his personality. He can buff your group, and he's a great teammate to have on your team. So not only speaks to their personalities, but also yet they play very, very differently. In the game. They have very different skills and very different traits. Deadpool and Wolverine. Wait, I think that would be a good